Hi folks, I'm Florida Trailblazer, exploring the history and wilderness of Florida. Today I'm out here hiking around in the Withlacoochee State Forest, not too far from the Withlacoochee River. It's a very scenic place out here. Always enjoy coming out here, experiencing this beautiful nature, and there's also many layers of history throughout this entire area. In fact, during the 1800s, there was a small community out here called Pemberton, Ferry. And during those days, the only way to cross over the Withlacoochee River was by ferry. So there was a ferry there, a ferry master. Later on, eventually a railroad line was built through this area. The logging, turpentine, and mining industries sprung up all around here, and eventually this community became known as Croom, and it thrived for a short while. And like many other towns in Florida during those times, once the resources were all used up, many of these towns were abandoned. So today I'm out here exploring through these woods, taking a journey back into the past, seeing what we can discover along the way. Hiking along the river, and this trail should lead me for little ways along this river. So it's a great place to hike because you get some nice views of this area, the floodplain and the river. Earlier I was mentioning about layers of history throughout this area. Long before there were towns and settlers here, Native American Indians lived all along these areas by the Withlacoochee River. And I believe Withlacoochee River is translated and means crooked river. So it's really fascinating walking in these areas because there is just so much history to learn about and beautiful scenery to experience. So you can see some people there fishing on the boat. I was gonna say hi to them, but I don't know if they can see me over here. I'm sure they can. But they're across the river there. Such a peaceful area to come out here and go fishing. There's nobody else out here. So I also didn't want to disturb them. It's a really neat cypress tree here. You can see a lot of these cypress knees around the area. in this floodplain. And these are actually part of the root system of these cypress trees out here. A lot of cypress trees out here. Very scenic area to roam along the floodplain. It's very wet in a lot of these areas, so you have to be careful of snakes. Be very cautious. It's a great place to really take in the beauty and see the real Florida. Hiking further along the Withlacoochee River, and this area here, it opens up and you walk along this bluff along the river. It's just really amazing out here. I've been coming out to this area for years, and I always enjoy the beautiful nature and history, and I always feel it's very important to make these videos and share about not just this area, but all these places in Florida with all of you, because I think it's important to educate other people about these wilderness areas and Florida history that still remains, because we have so many people moving here that may not know about these places or the history. And I feel if you know about them, you'll cherish them and value them. And so many of these wilderness areas are disappearing all the time from development, overpopulation, highways. And when you come out to these places, it's like time stands still. You take a journey back into old Florida. This is very interesting. There's a old benchmark out here, and you can see the date on this one, 1935. Those benchmarks are really neat to find. Sometimes they don't always have the dates on them. So for me, it's always a bonus when the date is on there, because you can see when that survey marker was placed there. And plus, nowadays they don't make them like they used to. So the older ones are really interesting to find. And there's all kinds of different ones that they use. But throughout the years, as I've been exploring, I've come across many of them. I think one of the earliest ones I've seen was the one over here from the 1930s. And you find them in all kinds of interesting places. Here's remnants from the old bridge. Hi.
What are you seeing?
I'm just videoing some of this stuff over here. Some of the old bridge.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, train bridge or?
The train bridge was down that way, but this is actually called Iron Bridge at one time. It was a road.
Wow.
See that piling over there?
Yeah.
That was part of it.
We were wondering. I said, I wonder what the history here is, because I don't know any of it.
Yeah, it was part of Croom at one time.
Huh.
So, yeah, it's pretty neat.
Very cool.
Yeah. You can see an old railroad grade here. It went through the town, crossed over the Withlacoochee River. You can see part of the railroad bed here. Today this railroad line is an overgrown path, and as I'm standing here you can imagine the trains coming through this area over 100 years ago. You can feel the history here. Let's take a walk around. You can see some remnants from the railroad line. Some of the old rails. Wow, take a look at all these rails here. There's a bunch of them here stacked up. And these have been out here for so long that this tree is actually growing around the rail. I'm gonna follow this railroad line a little ways. It leads you further into the woods here. It's a really amazing place to come out and see. I enjoy seeing those rails there. Walking along this railroad line, because to me, it's a part of the history in this area. And I fear that one day this area will be gone. It won't be like it used to be. And it's always my hope that for many years to come that future generations can come out to these places and experience the wilderness, learn about the history, and still see some remnants from the past. I feel that adds an element to the adventure. It brings the history together. Further back here along the railroad line, there's some old remains here. I'm not sure if this is from the railroad or not, but it's been here for quite some time. Standing here by the Withlacoochee River where the railroad line crossed over, and you can see behind me some trees there in the way. It looks a lot different than it used to. During the days of the railroad, there would have been a trestle that crossed over behind me there over to the other side of the river, and the railroad continues on. What a great adventure today. I really got into some amazing areas, saw some beautiful scenery, and experienced some interesting history along the way, which is always nice when you come out to these areas. And today we just explored one part of the history here, one piece of the town. There's much more to the area, more history to be discovered. I'll be out here making videos as much as I can, trying to document and share about this amazing history we still have left. I appreciate everybody watching and for your support. It means a lot. You all inspire me to come out here, see this wilderness, share about it, and help educate people about what's here, what history remains, and how important it is. So I just want to say thank you. And stay tuned for some great videos to come. Thanks again.